Evo čekamo još gospodina Kocijana. Dobro večer, pardon. Negdje se izmigolje. No, ok. Dobro večer svima. Ovako ja ću pokušati malo ubaciti neku dozu humorizma, da nismo baš ovako sad ozbiljni. Pričat ću na hrvatskom, prevodit će se na engleski, ne zato što ne znam engleski, nego sam čak i lošiji od one gospođe koja je u Europskom parlamentu ušla u anale YouTube-a, ne. Uglavnom, pričat ćemo ono nastavak logični na Kristijanovo izlaganje o gikovima iza željezne zavjese, to jest da li uopće to je bila željezna zavjesa ili ne, to ćemo prepustiti povijesti. Predstavit ću naime logično autora prvog hrvatskog školskog računala Galeb, njega se inače može vidjeti u elektronici Josipa Broza Tita prema istoku. Autor je Miroslav Kocijan, pa bi ja vas molio jedan veliki aplauz za gospodina Kocijana, koji je opismenio 90% Hrvata i Hrvatske. Moj veliki prijatelj koji dolazi iz Švicarske, koji ima ovako jednu inačicu, pod navodnicima pick and poka, ali na kudi kamo većoj razini, jer grad ima sluha, ok, iz Lozane, gospodin Iv Bolonini. Hvala. Ja sam inače Sveto Zernilović, zovu me Tozo. I dobrodošli na share konferenciju. Uglavnom, počet ću, ja bih dao riječ gospodinu Ivu Boloniniju da prvo predstavi svoj muzej. So, Mr. Ives, can you tell something about your museum?
Okay, hello everyone. My mother language is French, but English is okay, but I don't understand a word of Croatian. So I will continue with English. Okay, so I'm Yves Bolonini, and I come from Lausanne, and I'm the responsible for the guy in charge for the Musée Bolo Museum. It's located at EPFL, which is a polytechnical school in Lausanne. One of the two big polytechnical schools in Switzerland, the other one is in Zurich. And so first I was a computer collector. I collected computers since 1995. Crazy, compulsive collector. And then I started to have friends around me, and we created an association with other fans of vintage computing. And in 2002, we have the possibility to create this museum at this school, this polytechnical school in Lausanne. And so that was great, because when you're a collector and you have the opportunity to display your collection, it's just fantastic. So here behind me is a photo of the actual museum. It's not very big, but it's nice, and we have enough money to create something with professionals. So we have quite a nice museum, and we tried to have an exhibit that is not only technical but also interesting for a large public. And the theme of the exhibit is the programmed disappearance of the computer. Because the computer is getting more and more small, and it disappears, and so also it is everywhere, but it's small, it's behind objects, and you cannot see it anymore. And so idea was to have some kind of CSI expert in the museum to say, okay, we are trying to find why the computer is disappearing. Okay. Or maybe a word about this big machine here. We were very lucky to find it in the basement of the school. Actually, this is the first computer that was sold in Switzerland, and they built it in 60 pieces. And so this is maybe the last one. So it was built in 1963. So it's a quite old computer. very lucky to find it, and I didn't know it was a computer actually first, but then I learned about it. Okay, so the museum is only a very small part of our collections, and we have quite a large collection, one of the biggest collection in Europe, and this is one of the storage rooms, and this is quite big, and yeah. For the photo, we have put several computers, but it should be more clean without all the computers in the corridor like this. And you see there are people here, because as I said, I'm not alone, not at all. We have an association with many computer fans, old computer fans, and these are some members of the association. And they do many very interesting things and make the old computers work again to display not only a computer that is turned off, but also something working with software, old software, etc. Okay, so just a word maybe about one activity, one thing that the association did. What you see here on the right is the actual cube that was used by Tim Berners-Lee in CERN in Geneva to invent the web. This is the actual cube, and this is property of CERN, and it is not in our collection. I'm sorry about that, but it is not in our collection. This is still at CERN, but the association had the possibility, the opportunity to touch it and to use it, and the goal was to take the hard drive and make a copy of it and clean the internals of the machine. And that was quite a big work because it is such an historic item. And this is another part of the museum, but I will let the word to Sveto.
Yes, thank you, Yves. Dakle, ovdje vidimo, znači jedan postav iz muzeja gospodina Iva Bolaninija, tamo skroz desno u sredini vidi se njihov švicarski prvi kompjuter na 1978. Znači skoro paralelno kad je i Steve Jobs skupa sa Steve Wozniakom napravio Apple 1. A interesantno je i zanimljivo je da u istom muzeju, to je primjer jedne suradnje prijateljske, nalazi se i orao, njega možete vidjeti. Aj, mogu se dignuti da ja pokažem? Mogu? Ok. Ovo računalo ovdje autora, dotičnog gospodina Miroslava Kocijana, to je inače naime, sad gospodine Miro, vi me ispravite, orao je u principu nastao na temeljima Galeba, Galeb je bio prototipno računalo. Da i ne. Pa ja ću sad prepustiti evo mikrofon gospodinu Kocijanu da kaže onako par riječi kako su u principu Hrvati zakoračili u eru informatike.
Zahvaljujem se svima na posjeti i na pokazanoj pažnji. Osjećam se kao relikt iz prošlosti, očito jesam takav, jel? Malo čudno sve skupa. Bila su druga vremena, a ja sam izgleda po tim nekim definicijama pravi geek, jer recimo da sam malo drugačiji po pogledima na svijet i za mene sva ova tehnika nije tehnika toliko pogled na funkcionalnost koliko svojevrsna umjetnost. Ja volim to izjednačavati sa umjetnošću, dakle jedan način gledanja na svijet i bavljenja se svijetom. U svakom slučaju činjenica je da su to bila sasvim druga vremena nego danas i ono što je prethodni govornik spominjao, tu jednu kulturu do it yourself, ovo je s jedne strane bila manja dostupnost suvremenih, odnosno općenito tehnikalija koje danas nas preplavljuju, a s druge strane i želja se čovjek s nečim bavi. Danas je orijentacija prema nekoj zabavi gdje tehnika je, velim, više usputna činjenica, a ne predmet bavljenja. No, velim, to su bila druga vremena, ja sam očito dio toga. Da vas ne gnjavim, možda, eto, prepuštam pa povedite temu nekom drugom.
Ja moram u principu samo pitati ono klasično pitanje, kako ste došli na tu ideju?
Upravo u tome riječ, ako je su kompjuteri bili u nastajanju, bili su naročito osobna računala i mi smo poželjeli da to imamo, a nismo bili u Americi. S jedne strane, s druge strane kažem i tehnološki meni je to bilo zanimljivo. Kompjuter, šta je to, kako ga napraviti, i to je krenulo. A nakon toga naravno i praktična primjena došla u škole i očito je mnogima bil prvi susret sa svijetom informatike, kaj mene osobno veseli. To je to.
Dobro, evo klasično pitanje u principu. Pisao sam neki članak pred jedno 15 dana, čini mi se, za biznis ICT, gdje sam onako spomenuo, to ćemo se u principu složiti, zaista su bila malo drugačije vremena, računalo je jednostavno bilo nedostupno, danas je doslovno računalo postalo sastavni dio svakog doma, to je ko nekakva bijela tehnika, nekakva budućnost budućih računala je u mikrokontrolerima ili Miro?
Pa mislim da li budućnost ne znam, ali činjenica da praktično danas nema uređaja koji nema neki mikroprocesor u sebi i možemo reći da je danas cijeli svijet puno mikroprocesora, neizbježno je. Lakše je naći, odnosno teže naći neki uređaj koji nema mikroprocesor u sebi nego li koji ima. To je defaultna stvar.
Znači svi ćemo biti čipirani.
Nažalost, pardon.
Sorry. You have some interesting story about the first mouse in the computer world.
Yes, actually, you know that. You know that the first mouse was invented by Douglas Engelbart, that has died a couple of weeks ago. Yes, maybe a month. He was a great guy who invented a lot of things, and in Switzerland we have quite a history about the mouse too, because in the 70s the first prototype from Douglas Engelbart was improved in Switzerland by a professor whose name is Jean-Daniel Nicou, who is also very active in the museum even today, and he was he improved this mouse in his laboratory at EPFL. And at the same time, another professor in Zurich, the second polytechnical school in Switzerland, went to Xerox PARC and met Douglas Engelbart there, and came back with a mouse in his pocket. And he wanted to build the exact same workstation as the Xerox Alto, which used a mouse in California. And he went back with this mouse in his pocket, and he started building this workstation. And this professor was Niklaus Wirth, and Niklaus Wirth is the inventor of the Pascal programming language. You know, I think, the Pascal programming language. So this Niklaus Wirth is someone who is very important in computing, and maybe the Swiss computer scientist that is the most known in the world. And so he started building this workstation, but he didn't have the technology for the mouse, and he didn't know how to do it. And so he called Professor Nicou in Lausanne and told him, I need a mouse, and I know that you did something around this Engelbart prototype. And so the Professor Nicou just improved again and had a product. This product was built around 1979, and that was the Depra mouse. Depra was the company that was building this mouse, and this mouse was used for the first workstation of Niklaus Wirth in Zurich, and it was also used with the Smaky. So I think that, Sveto, you talked about the Smaky a bit before?
Couple of words.
Couple of us, yeah. So this Smaky, that was a micro computer that was developed also by Professor Nicou and his laboratory at PFL. And he used this first mouse, this first Swiss mouse with this microcomputer around 1980, 1981. And after that, you know that there's a company in Switzerland that is very important. It's Logitech. And Logitech was founded in 1981. And the first goal of Logitech was to create software, because Logitech is logiciel, which is software in French, logiciel tech, technology. So Logitech. It's not about mice. It's not a company that built mice. And so in 1981, they start the company. And in 1983 they had a need for a mouse because one software needed a mouse. And so Daniel Borel, who was a founder of Logitech, came to Professor Nico and said, okay, I know that you have a mouse that went to Zurich, to Niklaus Wirth, and that you use with your Smaki, and I need a mouse. So could it be possible that Logitech could sell this mouse? And so the first mouse that was sold by Logitech was exactly the same mouse. And so the Depra mouse was sold by Logitech in 1982, 83, something like that. And what is nice to know is that this mouse, at this time, was the only mouse in the world that you could actually buy. And it's only in 1983 with the Apple Lisa that you could buy a mouse with a computer, and then naturally with the Apple Macintosh in 1984. So that was the story of the Swiss mouse.
Have you pictures of this mouse?
Oh no.
No? Okay.
No. Not here, sorry.
Pa evo, mi ćemo sad u principu malo ovako završiti. Gospodin Kocan, imate još možda? Ima, odlično.
Eto jedna možda povijesna pričica, ljudi možda ne znaju. Firma Microsoft ili Microsoft, nažalost ili na sreću nevažno, ali činjenično, dakle nije takav veliki inventor kakav mi svi mislimo i Windows nije nastalo u Microsoftu nego je upravo u toj Xerox laboratorijama o kojem je spominjao prisutni gospodin. I dakle miš i sve skupa operativni sistemi grafički su iz tih laboratorija izašli, međutim očito oni koji su vodili kompaniju nisu u tome vidjeli perspektivu, moramo priznati Microsoftu da je znao prepoznati stvar i napraviti tu masovnost koja je prisutna danas na svakom stolu. Ali sama invencija, dakle, i grafičkog sučelja i miša, apsolutno iz Xeroxovih laboratorija ili Xerox, kako oni kažu, izlazi. Ne? Evo, to se samo treba nadovezati. Dakle, povijest je malo drugačije nego ljudi su naviknuti misliti ili znati. Ne? To je, hvala.
Evo, u principu mi smo završili, sljedeći govornik je Vuk, zdravo. Evo, u principu mi ćemo sad biti u našim sobama, meni ne treba više od 5 minuta pa nam se možete pridružiti. Hvala vam lijepo.